everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I am doing the Thanksgiving book tag because Thanksgiving is right around the corner and I'm so excited for it and all the good food. So if you are interested in doing this tag, I will make sure to leave all the questions down below in the description box. And if you're watching this, consider yourself tagged. So here we go. Bread. What book is purely fluff and has no real plot line? And for this book, I'm actually going to go with A Gentleman in Moscow by Amor Toils. I think that's how you say his name. I actually did overall enjoy this book, but it is a little too character driven. It really doesn't have a plot. It's just kind of this character meeting more characters and that's it. So I would definitely say that if you like character-driven historical fiction novels, this is a good one. It's very well written, but there's really no plot that I can discern from this one. The next prompt is Turkey. What book made you want to fall asleep? I'm gonna feel bad about this one, but I'm gonna go with All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Doerr. I promise I don't hate historical fiction. It's just these two books happen to be historical fictions. This one is a Pulitzer Prize winner, but the writing style in it, while it's beautiful and I can appreciate it, it's very poetic, and I'm not a huge fan of poetic and flowery writing, so I found myself very bored with this one and my mind kept drifting and I just wanted to fall asleep the whole time I was reading it. So I feel bad about this answer, but yeah, I'm gonna have to go with this one. Gravy. What book makes the whole series worth reading? For this, I have to say Written in My Own Heart's Blood by Diana Gabaldon, which is the 8th book in the Outlander series. So if you manage to read all 7 of the other books, which is probably like a combined total of like 8,000 pages, and you manage to get to this book, this one is by far my favorite. 5 out of 5 stars. I loved it so much, but there's so much of the series you have to get through to get here. I totally think it's worth it. And I'm so glad I read the series because of this book. But I will admit that books like 5 and 6 are so slow and drag on for so long that it was pretty hard to get there. It was hard to get to this one, but I did it and I'm so glad I did. So if you're interested in reading Outlander, check out the first book for sure. And if you love it, continue on with the series, and I promise books 5 and 6 are slow, but books 7 and especially 8 make it worth reading. Stuffing. What book is stuffed full of action scenes? This one is Imaginary Friend by Stephen Chbosky. There is not a more action-packed and thrilling book that I can think of on my shelf that's just non-stop tension and just craziness that goes on. This is a horror novel, and it follows a little boy and his mother who move to a new town, and the little boy goes missing in the woods for 6 days, and when he is found again, he has this voice in his head that he calls his imaginary friend, and his friend is telling him to build a tree house in the middle of the woods by Christmas or everything he knows will never be the same. And it's so good. It's probably my favorite book of the year. It definitely makes my top 10 list of favorite books of all time. So good, and it's just non-stop. Like, I could not put this book down, so I highly recommend this one. The next prompt is mashed potatoes. What book looked good and then wasn't? And for this one, I'm going to have to say The Luminous Dead by Caitlin Starling. This book sounded awesome. It was pitched as a horror sci-fi novel about a woman who is on this mysterious expedition and is getting paid a lot of money to go and explore this cave on a foreign planet. And kind of through her journey in the cave, she starts feeling like she's being watched and stuff was supposed to happen. And what we got instead of that was no horror, no sci-fi, aside from the fact that we're on this foreign planet for some unknown reason, and 2 characters in the entire book, and all they do is argue with each other the entire book. And there's no like exciting action scenes or like horror elements or like creepy things that happen. It's so boring. It's so boring. Oh my God, I hated it. And so I got through like 90% of this book and I couldn't even finish it. I was like, I just don't care anymore. I don't care about these characters. I don't care about what happens to them. I just don't care, because I knew I wasn't gonna get any sort of big twist or surprise or anything like that, because it was 90% of the way through and nothing had happened. So Luminous dead for sure. Cranberries, what book has the sweetest romance? And there's a couple I could say for this one, but I'm gonna go with An Enchantment of Ravens by Margaret Rogerson, which was a very recent read, and I have a review for this book if you're interested and want to check it out. I love the romance in this. It's so sweet, it's fluffy, it's cute. I just loved it. I could have also gone with like Strange the Dreamer. I feel like the romance in that book and this one are very similar, and they're just pure and sweet. You just love it. It's like that classic like fairy tale romance that's just sweet, and there's no like miscommunication, which is like my least favorite thing in romance. It's just like the miscommunication trope. So I'm gonna have to go with An Enchantment of Ravens. Corn, what's the corniest book you've ever read? This is Immortal Reigns by Morgan Rhodes, and this is the 6th and final book in the Fallen Kingdom series. I actually liked the beginning of the Fallen Kingdom series. I liked the first couple books, and then I kind of started to like notice that the characters were becoming more and more cringy, and their dialogue was becoming more and more cheesy, that it got to a point in the 6th book where I just couldn't take it anymore. I really didn't like it. I didn't like any of the characters at that point. I thought all of the dialogue was so cringy and corny, and oh, it got way too like over dramatic, and just, I hated it. So I'm gonna have to go with like Immortal Reigns and like Crystal Storm. Those are the 2 books where it really started to like decline, in my opinion. And that's coming from someone who did like the first couple books. So, I mean, take that with a grain of salt. I think this is appropriate for probably maybe younger readers who like that, but I just don't like the angsty stuff, and I find it so corny. So yeah. Green Beans, what book is too long and needs to be shortened? I'm gonna go with It by Stephen King. This one is 1,150 pages long. I know that because I kept looking ahead to see how much I had left of this book. And basically, I actually really did enjoy reading this book, and my biggest criticism of it comes from spending so much time on character development for characters that we only spend one scene with, or are only serving like one purpose, who we really don't care about in the like long term. And like, I loved the development of like the characters in the Losers Club, the core characters. It was excellent, but I just didn't feel the need to spend so much time with some of the other side characters when really they just like served one purpose, or were just referenced in one scene, and then we never talked about them again, and they didn't even matter at the end. So that being said, I have a full review of this down below if you want to check it out. I really did enjoy it. It just could have been maybe a couple hundred pages less character development, and I would have liked it so much more. Pumpkin Pie, what book do you read to get out of a reading slump? So this is interesting because I've never been in a reading slump, unless you count like my whole middle school, high school, and college years where I like didn't read for fun at all. Since picking up books again post-college, I've really not run into a big reading slump, which is so great. And I can imagine that it'll happen to me in the future, and when it does, what I would probably reach for is rereads of some old favorites that I hadn't read in a couple years. Maybe like a Harry Potter reread, that's always a good one. Or like the easiest things to get through for me are like easy, quick chick lit books, like very quick romance books. I think like Fix Her Up, The Hating Game, those are all great examples of books that I love and were just easy to get through. Like didn't require too much from me and I could just escape for a couple hours. So those are the books I think I would reach to if I got into a reading slump. The last question, dog/cat. What's your favorite Thanksgiving food that you want to steal from the table? This one, I'm going to have to go with stuffing. I love stuffing, and especially when you get like a good bite where it includes like a little bit of turkey, a little bit of stuffing, a little bit of cranberry and some gravy. So good. But then I also would say a close second would be green bean casserole. Big fan. So those are all the questions in the Thanksgiving book tag. Once again, if you want to participate, consider yourself tagged. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to give it that thumbs up and subscribe. I release new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And until next time, bye!